Today on TimesCast, weak economic data and a grim assessment by the Federal Reserve spark a global stock sell-off, and the op-ed columnist Joe Nocera on investor confidence in Washington.
The 2008 crisis, at least you could say, it was an economic crisis, it was a financial crisis. It wasn't brought on us by our own government.
And, according to new census data, 1 in 5 New Yorkers now lives under the poverty line.
It's hard now to even find jobs, even in a pizza shop, even in a grocery store. It's hard to find jobs.
The Federal Reserve painted a very worrying picture about the economy in the United States yesterday and about strains in Europe. And we've seen financial markets around the world reacting to that today. In Europe, markets were down as much as 5%. In the US, they were down in very volatile trading. The worry is about how are we heading into a recession fast? And more importantly, there's great frustration about what policymakers can do to stop that. What can the Federal Reserve do now? And what could Europe do now against this backdrop of seeming powerlessness to address Europe's financial crisis and to pick up activity here in the United States? The big issue hanging over the economy and markets is the idea of austerity versus stimulus. In Europe, you have the question about Greece's austerity package and whether it will get the latest round of aid. That's still undecided and unresolved. And here in the United States, there's a still unresolved question about its debt problems and the need to stimulate this flagging economy. That uncertainty is undermining confidence, and the confidence that policymakers can actually address these problems.
Sadly, it didn't take very long to get back to where we were just a month or so ago before the August recess, where the two parties are fighting so viciously that the country economically feels like it's about to fall apart. On Thursday, the House of Representatives actually turned down a continuing resolution that would have just kept the government up and running. The 2008 crisis, at least you could say, it was an economic crisis, it was a financial crisis. It wasn't brought on us by our own government. The debt ceiling crisis was brought on us by our own government. But beyond what's going on right now, there's a larger issue here too. How are we going to get out of the economic problems that we're in now, and whether the government is actually helping or hurting? When I see the arguments about spending, stimulus versus austerity, frankly, I think about 1931. Herbert Hoover's in office. He doesn't basically believe in stimulus. He believes in a balanced budget. He thinks that's the most important thing for the economy. He is proven wrong. So wrong that his party is thrown out of office in 1932. Franklin Roosevelt comes in, and what is the first thing he does? He starts to stimulate the economy like crazy. When I think about the position that we're in now, when they talk about austerity, they're basically deciding to choke the economy. I understand why they're doing it. I understand that it's important to get Medicare and Medicaid under control and to get entitlements under control. All true. But boy, what a terrible moment to be putting this front and center. And, if it doesn't let up, we are going to wind up, I'm sorry to say, back where we were in 1931.
New census data shows that 20% of New Yorkers now live in poverty, the highest level in a decade.
Census figures released today indicate that poverty has increased more in New York City than the nationwide average. We're here in the South Bronx, which is the poorest urban county in the country, to talk to people here about their financial situation.
It's hard now to even find jobs, even in a pizza shop, even in a grocery store. It's hard to find jobs.
Vendo menos. El negocio bajó.
I don't know if the economy will even get better.
The poverty level in New York City increased for all groups except for those 65 and older. Among single Hispanic mothers in the Bronx, it rose to nearly 58%. Vanessa Ellison said she came to New York about a year ago looking for work. She still hasn't found anything.
There are no jobs here. When I go over to the social services building and I get in line just to talk to a caseworker or a manager, it's just unreal.
Some advocates say that the situation could be even worse than what the numbers indicate. The dire situation could be seen in long lines at soup kitchens, food pantries, unemployment offices, and other social service agencies.
I really wish Congress would think very seriously about bringing more of our business back to the United States. Because in this country, people need to know how to work.